we're living in a tapestry, we
Yeah,
really are. And it's
yeah,
it's really incumbent on us. I think it's actually a moral issue to bear witness to whatever corner of the world you're in and to make a record of that and to testify to it. Because if you don't, somebody else will, and they will
right.
get it wrong. And
Yes,
that's how prejudices start. That's how
yes.
discrimination start. That's how misunderstanding starts.
Right.
But if we all articulate authentically, we have a better chance of being better citizens and having a better world.
Oh, amen to that. And I really love that you said bear witness and come from authenticity
Mhm.
because when we do that, we come forward in such a loving grace that it words heal. Words can heal. Words are powerful.
Hi, I am Donna McDine, and welcome to the Energy of Serenity Podcast. Here we unleash empowerment through the power of the word. Join me and my guests as we share stories, tools, and insights to help you feel grounded and aligned. Let's dive in.
Hello and welcome. This is Donna McDine of the Energy of Serenity Podcast, and I have a beautiful author and coach and writer here today, Lorraine Ash. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. It's fantastic to be with you, Donna.
I still remember connecting with you. Oh my gosh, it was probably about 10 years ago in one of your writers' workshops.
That's right.
So before we really get underway with our beautiful conversation today, I want to share with the listeners a bit about you. So as I said, Lorraine Ash is so welcome to be here. She works as a book editor and author coach, specializing in all forms of autobiography writing. She has penned 2 memoirs herself, Life Touches Life, a mother's story of stillbirth and healing, and the other title is Self and Soul on Creating a Meaningful Life. Most recently, she edited the award-winning Corona City, Voices from an Epicenter, an anthology of first-person writings that chronicles life in New Jersey and New York when these 2 states were the nation's first COVID-19 epicenter. Lorraine studied at Fordham University and California State University, Long Beach. She lives in New Jersey. So welcome again, Lorraine. I'm so excited for you to be here.
Oh, likewise. The great state of New Jersey. And you're close by, and we met in
Yes,
Rockland County, New
yes,
York.
we did. Yes,
Yes.
we did. And it was a beautiful education for myself about writing memoirs.
Mm.
And it was very interesting because there was quite a few people that everybody came from different walks of life. So it was very interesting about hearing about everybody's stories. And you really were able to peel back that onion on everyone and get that writing flowing. So I really want you to share with the listening audience that with your writing workshops that you offer, what can people expect from them?
Well, they can expect to have their stories be heard and to be educated on the best way to shape them on the page, so that they have the maximal dramatic effect, and that we have a nice interplay between the things that happen in the world to us and the things that and how that impacts our inner lives, right? Because we've got that inner voice that we
Yeah.
always want to bring on. That's what really makes memoir come alive and distinguishes it as a genre.
And that's beautiful. And I really liked how you touched on that it's not only the individual's experience, it's really their inward thoughts on how they handled it. Because I know with being one of 5 children growing up, we all could experience the same scenario, but we took something different away from it.
That's right. You have 5 different stories
Right.
of
And
the same event.
yes, and it's so interesting when that happens. When you're meeting with your students and they know they have a story to be told, but they don't feel that their words are so-called worthy of being heard. how do you get them to overcome the fear that they have of actually putting their experiences to paper?
Every life, no matter how ordinary or extraordinary, deals with universal themes. We are a nexus point for so much in life, for the culture, for the society, for so much, for the politics. And so everything we say is connected to the greater good, and that's why. I mean, it happens to me, it happens to us. Yeah, that's the way we think of it. And now you have more braided memoirs, so you can use your personal story as one thread, but then you can
Mm,
then weave it with other threads of research or science, or there's so many ways to do it. But you take your story and you weave it with what's going on in the outer world. And
that's
that's
fascinating.
it is. It is.
Right. So it really cultivates a story that, yes, the individual story is extremely important. It's the basis of what they're writing about. But when you bring in world events into it, it can resonate with the reader so much more.
Absolutely. I mean, I braided my first memoir, Life Touches Life, and Mother's Story of Stillbirth and Healing, quite naturally. Now they're
Hmm.
talking about it as an intentional subgenre, and a very popular one. But when I lost my daughter when I was 40, lost her a full term and almost lost my
Mm,
life during the birth, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm the only person in the world this happened to. You know, uh, no, I'm not. It's like one in every 150 births. And
right.
we don't wanna know that, but then we could use our stories, like I used in my story, to
Mm.
educate people on that. Yes, it's an
And to,
emotional journey, but it's also a medical journey for the
right.
culture.
And to really show people that you're not alone, and that there's others out there that unfortunately have experienced this as well.
That's right.
And to know that there's people out there that really truly understands what that heartache is about. And yes, everybody's heartache is different, but to know that you're not alone, that there's power in that, knowing that someone was so willing to share their own personal experience as to how they navigated those waters and how they came out on the other end. It gives people hope.
But it really does, and it's a real thing. I mean, and your story does travel. My book, Life Touches Life, went to 18 countries. Wow.
Wow.
When you think about what it took to get the book published, all the
Mm,
publishers will say, "Oh, I know this is kind of a downer. This is depressing. I don't. It's about a dead baby." But no, it's about the human condition, and it's about the parents left behind, the grandparents left behind in the wake of this tragedy. I've just gotten recently email from Prague. I'm going to be talking to a group in Utah that started a stillbirth mother book club. We're gonna be talking to
beautiful.
them in April. I've got a follow-up email for just the other day from a stillbirth mom I wrote to 5 years ago in Maine. Just wanted to let me know how she's doing. And she's
Oh, how beautiful.
yes, I mean, the connections are real. I mean, memoir is one way to authentically connect today in the age of algorithms,
Mm.
and it's and that's a big deal. This it
That is a big deal. And how that must make your heart soar when someone 5 years later is reaching out to you and be like, you know what? I need to give Lorraine an update as to where I am in my life.
yes.
How beautiful. And that is such a beautiful testament of the power of the word and what that can mean for someone that you may never even meet in person
That's
or even have a conversation with. And just knowing that you had that courage to put your life experience down on paper, hit the bricks to get it published and to get it out there to those that so desperately needed to know, hello, you're not alone.
that's right.
You're not alone. And how beautiful that so many years later, after writing your book, you're still making a beautiful impact on the world as a whole. It's just, and that's the one good item that came out of COVID, in my opinion, is that we pivoted to online, using Zoom, using any type of means of video connection with people, and to be able to, for you to be connected to people in Prague. It's just amazing. It's amazing. And I just, and thank you for sharing that heartfelt journey of yours that was really, I mean, you bled a vein on putting pen to paper. Did you find that it was therapeutic for you in writing this memoir?
Oh, definitely. Particularly with stillbirth, because your baby is not born. Your baby is not known to the general world.
Hmm.
So there's an invisibility that cloaks the whole experience.
Right.
And so a book is a tangible thing you can hold in your hands. So I remember when I got the first box of books. Oh boy, I mean, my husband and I
Oh,
were both crying because it was something that existed now. You know.
and a publisher had the courage to step forward and be, no, this story, this voice needs to be heard, and knowing that this will help others, and how encouraging that you did not get defeated, because publishing is a long journey, and there, all it takes is that one yes, and how beautiful someone valued your story, to know that it was meant to be told and to help people.
And that one was
So
Maureen Michelson of New Sage Press in Oregon. Yeah,
beautiful,
yeah.
beautiful. Are you still, is she still with the publisher?
Yes, she is the publisher.
Oh,
Yes,
she is the
yes,
publisher. Wow.
yes.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So bravo to her for having the courage
That's right.
to allow this story to be told. And because I would imagine that it was a taboo subject.
That's right.
People just did not want to touch upon it. And it really is important for people to know that not everything is sugar and rainbows all the time.
That's right.
And it's important that we lift one another with our stories so people can feel comfort in that. So, Lorraine, thank you for having that beautiful, beautiful courage with that. When you were editing the Corona City book, I would imagine there was some really tough stories to be read and, yes, edited so that it'd be the proper flow for the print. Did you get to meet the individual people for the stories that were being told in this?
Some of them I did. We had 65 writers, each writing from their corner of the reality of coronavirus, all in the New York and New Jersey metro area because we were the first epicenter. And so some of them I didn't know at all, and some of them I met at readings later. At first, we had our readings online, and then we had some readings in person because we went about 4 years with pushing the book,
Wait,
and then culminated at the 4-year anniversary. But
wow.
yes, but we got close. I mean, we got very close.
Yeah.
Just in terms of Zoom imagery.
Yes. It's amazing. It's amazing how it really brings us forward and connected. And that, thank goodness, there was that capability during COVID when we were all in so much isolation, that grandparents were still able to visit with their grandchildren, and, at any type of age or relationship. And it, in some respects, it feels like it was just a short time ago, but then on other respects, it feels like it was another lifetime ago when all that happened. So bravo to you for really bringing that forward as well, because that's truly such a deep part of history that I'm sure kids, when they're going through the school programs and their grades, that this will really become impactful for them to learn as to what really occurred during that time. So bravo for bringing those true stories to print for people. So your career, you wear many different hats. You're an author, you're a journalist, you're a book editor, you're a ghostwriter.
Right.
And of course, we touched on that you're a workshop leader. Uh, can you tell us a bit, like, is there a lot of different shifts that you need to make when you're doing one of those aspects from a ghostwriter to a workshop leader? Do you use the same approach?
Well, I'll tell you, it's all about storytelling. It's about voice, and it's all about supporting the voice to come out, or when you're in a workshop, or polishing the voice if you're editing. It's all a continuum. So there's a lot of activities on the same literary continuum.
Okay. It makes a lot of sense because you are so innately connected to the word and how that impacts people. Uh, your words are so beautifully flows forth in your own writing. When you're teaching your workshops, do you go by like a so-called script when you're teaching your workshops, or do you really go with the flow of the energy of the participants?
No scripts. In fact, we've never done
You keep it real.
we've never done the same thing twice.
Yeah.
Now, and we go with the
that's
flow.
beautiful.
I have
Yeah.
ideas and techniques that I want to share, and exercises that I use with folks to help prompt them, but then
Right.
we let them go where they need to be. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Do you find in your workshops that people get an emotional release when they're actually putting their words to paper?
Boy, sometimes that is really true. And you find out that people have been walking around with a story inside them for 60 years. I mean, some private pain, some private trauma.
Mm.
I learned that even with Life Touches Life. I mean, the very first reading for Life Touches Life, a woman came up to me after the reading, and was about 50 people there, and she said she had a stillborn baby in the 1940s.
Wow.
Book came out in
Wow.
2004. And I got also an email from a woman who had had a stillbirth in the 60s. And she wrote to me, "I just finished your book. Do you mean to tell me that stillbirth was not my fault?"
Oh,
Oh
oh,
my God.
wow.
Yeah, that's right. It was not your fault. I mean, we have nurses who are, who are perinatal specialists who lose babies. It happens.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And how, even though it was so many years, for that individual to carry that for so long, feeling like they did something wrong, and how in that moment that heavy energy dissipated from them, and hearing for the first time that it wasn't their fault.
That's right.
I, I mean, that must make you just joyful beyond, because to see that healing come across someone's face, that they're no longer holding that heaviness,
Mhm.
it must solidify for you that you are doing what you're meant to do on this earth.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. It
Yeah.
it really does. There's nothing, and it's work, as you said, that whole book publishing journey is huge, but that moment makes it all worth it.
Well worth it.
Yes.
Well worth it. And I really want that to be sinking in to those of the Energy Serenity audience, that if there is something that you innately feel needs to be heard, and you need to put that to paper, and hey, you don't feel like you want to publish it, open up that journal, put that pen to paper, and let your emotions, let your story flow, because it's a healing process when you put pen to paper and let those emotions, those feelings, those words really flow out and not worry that, oh, okay, I need to have this perfect. No, let the words go to paper and let it heal you. Let your burdens release from you through the power of the words on the paper. And Lorraine, you really have shared such beautiful moments without revealing who the individual is. And I am sure that there's people out there listening to this conversation and being like, you know what? My story is worth being heard. And because we all have our different perspectives in life that really can be that aha moment for someone else reading your words.
That's right. We're living in a tapestry. We
Yeah.
really are. And it's
Yeah.
it's really incumbent on us. I think it's actually a moral issue to bear witness to whatever corner of the world you're in, and to make a record of that, and to testify to it. Because if you don't, somebody else will, and they
Right.
will get it wrong. And
Yeah.
that's how prejudices start. That's how
Yes.
discriminations start. That's how misunderstanding starts. But if we all articulate authentically, we have a better chance of being better citizens and having a better world.
Oh, amen to that. And I really love that you said bear witness and come from authenticity,
Mhm.
because when we do that, we come forward in such a loving grace that it words heal. Words can heal. Words are powerful. And I often talk with people about that inner naysayer that we have. And at times we speak to ourselves in such a negative way
Right.
that we would not speak to others. So, really, besides putting pen to paper and putting our words down, be kind to ourselves on how we speak to ourselves. And we'll find ourselves lighter for it too.
I once went to a yoga weekend where we were all sitting in a big room. We were on the floor on yoga mats, and we had in front of us little bowls
Mm,
and little pieces of paper. And we were just asked to meditate and to write down anything that came up in our heads. Okay, so we did, and we put all these scraps of paper in this bowl. And then the instructor said, take out of the bowl anything that isn't your thought, that isn't from your voice. So people were
right,
taking out like 80% of their little pieces of paper. And then it helps you realize, well, what's me? As opposed to
right.
what I'm, what's being inculcated into
Yes,
me from the surroundings, other people.
yes. And it's important that we filter out what does not resonate with us, that does not feel authentic. We don't need to take on every word that we hear or read or listen to, that we really need to filter as to what resonates with us and makes our own heart soar and feel lighter. Because if we keep taking on the negative, then we wonder why we feel so tired and we just don't feel like engaging in conversation. So what a beautiful eye-opening technique that must have been,
Yes.
and shocking that sometimes our thoughts are not so great. And it's time to be like, nope, nope, that's that's not a positive thought. I need to push that to the side so I can fill it in with grace and positivity. Oh, I love that. That must have been just as therapeutic as the yoga session itself, clearing the mind. Yeah.
I had the good fortune to get my master's degree at Fordham. And I had this wonderful professor there, George Gordon. It was like my Jewish father. And he used to always say, only 1% of the people are worth listening to. Then
Ooh.
he used to say, but which one? That's that's the hard part of life.
I love that. So we need
Yeah.
discernment. We
Mhm.
really need to pay attention to our own inner thoughts and the words that are being spiraled around us. I know you live your day-to-day life with beautiful intention. How does that positive power of the word influence you in your daily life? and not just in your workshops, your own writing, your editing, how you go about your daily life. How is that help you to really put your best foot forward as an individual?
Well, I think it's important to name things and call them what they are. And
Mm.
it's also helpful to start connecting them in meaningful ways in your life. Because I work with story all the time, I tend to see something and then I'm automatically trying to connect the strands. Okay, so that was
Mm.
just said. Where did that come from? What was the impetus for that? Should I listen to that? So you're constantly it's a web. It's everything you're living in a web of story that's spun by words, whether it's spoken or written, and so many ways they come at us now. But just to think about where did this start and do I belong in the middle of it? And that
Mm.
actually helps you live, not
Right.
just write. It actually helps you live.
That's beautiful. I love that imagery that you just put together on that. And for the listeners out there, I- you need to connect with Lorraine. Whether you take a workshop with her, you pick up one of her books that she has written or edited. And Lorraine, how can the listeners connect with you? Where can they find you?
They can go to lorraineash.com and it's all there.
Beautiful, beautiful. And what I love about your website, it is so bright, and it really immerses you upon the arrival on the website. Because I know sometimes, like I know for myself, if I go into a shop and there's too much stuff in there, it's like, where do you even begin? You kind of leave. Your website is so beautifully laid out that, and it's just so easily guided in. And I can attest, by taking a workshop with Lorraine, every second of it is worth the time, and you'll never feel the same again. You'll walk lighter when you go out, because it's really such a beautiful time. And oftentimes when you do attend workshops, and then all of a sudden you're finding that, people may look different around the table, but everybody is there because of the beautiful stories they have to share. And we learn so much from one another. So, Lorraine, thank you for providing such a safe haven for those out there that want to put the pen to paper and not sure how they can go about it. And it's just beautiful how you do your ongoing workshops. Um, so, anything else you want to share with the listeners before we conclude?
No, I just want to thank you for highlighting this, the power of words and how they can heal, and it's the structure, it's how we put them together. They can be, you can put it together harshly, or you could put it together in such a way that you just want to understand.
Yes.
There's judging and there's understanding, and we always
Yeah.
seek to understand.
Yes. And I love that. I love that you're sharing that we seek to understand, because when we do understand one another, the beauty of that joy of learning from one another, no matter what walk of life you come from, it's fascinating.
It is. The
Fascinating.
people in the workshops, by the way, a lot of friendships form there.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah, because there's that closeness that comes with sharing your story.
And the conversation in a memoir workshop gets real fast. You can cover more territory in 10 minutes than like 10 years
Yeah.
of chatting,
And that's beautiful. And I love that you provide such a beautiful, nurturing, safe haven for people. So, Lorraine, thank you so much for joining me today. I am truly blessed with the connection. Thank you.
You.
Thank you for tuning in to the Energy of Serenity podcast. I appreciate you taking the time to explore the power of the word, mindfulness, and calming practices with me. My gift to you is $10 off any Energy of Serenity service, class, or product when you opt in to the Energy of Serenity newsletter at energybserenity.com/newsletter and enter coupon code Thank You EOS, all lowercase. If today's episode resonated, please subscribe and engage in the comments. Until next time, may your energy be serene and your words be empowered. Namaste.